experience it for the first time, but try to get a lot of questions answered here at once. Here, at any point that you would need to contact the athletic office, you have emails from myself, Justin Pelly, who works in the junior high guidance. He's the junior high guidance counselor, and then does some assistant duties for us that he can help us kind of on a daily basis where it's not overly time sensitive, but he's available and does some junior high things for us as well. And then transitioning this year, the athletic administrative assistant role, Ashley is going into the classroom and joining our PE department as a teacher with a kinesiology background. So Lindsay Musgrave is joining the athletic office, and many people in the community know her as a former graduate and living in the community, and she knows a lot of you, so she'll be someone that'll be a good resource for you. As we start here, I want to take an opportunity and give the floor to our athletic boosters. Really what we do daily and what our athletes are able to do would not be possible. The events we put on wouldn't be possible without the volunteers of our athletic boosters, which obviously any of you can be a part of. But they help provide all of our ticket taking, every ticket taker for every event, junior high to high school. They also provide our concession stand workers as well and stock that and run the concessions. And they also do some other things, from a financial perspective, help not only donating the athletic department, but they purchase the athletic training room supplies along with any patches that we order for athletes when we win championships. Those are also purchased by the boosters. So our booster president in the first year of doing it, Carla Rausch, is very organized and detailed and is going to do great with the role. But I'm sure some of what I said she'll go over again, but in more detail. So, Carla.
Okay, thank you. I was like, oh, hands. Hi, everybody. My name's Carla Rausch. I am, like Mr. Dexter said, the first year president for our athletic boosters. I have a junior and a freshman this year, and I'm excited to really help continue to support our athletic department through our boosters. So first off, these are your booster executive and committee chairs for the year. Karina Wagner is my vice president of operations, and she creates our sign-up geniuses that help to where you can volunteer to take tickets and help with the concessions. Katie Anderson is our vice president of concessions. She's in charge of all our ordering for the concession areas. Jill Pastori is our secretary. She's taking over for me as secretary this year, so in her first year with that role. And then Jamie Young is our treasurer. Also, I didn't add on here, but Christy Ballantyne is also going to be our assistant treasurer this year as we try to transition some more members into to helping us out. Our committee chairs, Amy Lester is in charge of our fundraising. So if you saw Kona out in front today, Amy set that up for us to give our kids one last treat for summer tonight. So we really appreciate everything that Amy does. Allison Smith puts together our athletic program book that you'll see 3 times a year, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. Katie Westerfeld is our indoor concessions chair, so she opens the concessions and gets the popcorn made and the pretzels going before every indoor concession event. We are looking to get her an assistant as she works to transition out of that role, as she has a senior this year. So if anyone's interested in helping with that, we would love to work with someone else, like to train someone additional. Barb Hilger is our soccer concession worker, and Laura Humphrey is our baseball concessions worker. As well as we have representatives for a caller and closer for every grade. Caller is who you get those emails from with those sign-up geniuses saying, hey, we need your help. We need you to sign up to take tickets or work in the concession. So you can see those listed there. And our closers are who close the concession stand on the night that we designate for that grade week. So we really appreciate all of those workers. So we would love to have more people help us with the boosters. We meet the second Monday of every month at 6 p.m. in the community room here on the other side of the cafeteria. cafeteria. So if you're interested, definitely come give us a try. We have a fun time and would love to have some additional hands. So as Mr. Dexter said, we do a lot to support our student athletes, and we just really appreciate getting the opportunity to do that. We raise money and fund all the awards, trophies, letter pins, patches, and varsity letters, as well as certificates. We maintain and operate 4 concession stands every year. Our main concessions are Snack Shack over by the junior high, as well as in soccer and baseball concessions. We offer 2 scholarships, a minimum of $1,000 each year to our seniors, and last year's winners were Jacqueline Mitchell and Jacob Anderson. As he said too, we also fully cover the trainer supplies to help keep our athletes safe and well taken care of should an injury occur. And this past year, we exceeded one of our goals, so we were able to donate $20,000 from the boosters back to the athletic department for Mr. Dexter to use on whatever team, whatever sport needed assistance. And so our goal had been $15,000, but due in part to the great success that we had from fundraisers and our concessions and just contributions from all of you, we were able to exceed that. So we've got another goal for this year again of $20,000, and hopefully we can exceed that this year. My next slide. So how do we raise money to support our stars? As I said, concession stands, fundraising. So again, Kona Ice is here tonight. We do have a El Mason night coming up. I believe it's August 22nd. It's a Friday night. So we'll get that out on social media here soon. But you can just go to El Mason with your family, dine, and they will give us a percentage of the proceeds for that day. You don't have to show a flyer. You don't have to let them know that you're there for the boosters. They're really a great partner to work with. And we also do it through our sponsorship. So kind of like membership is what you might think of it, but it's a sponsorship of just sponsoring the athletic boosters. I think on my next slide. Yes, so how can you help? So anyone can donate. We have various levels of donation for every budget. Tonight we're offering a special if you decide to sponsor the athletic boosters for $25 or more. We'll give you a free yard sign, the WB yard signs that you see around town. We'd love to get more of those out. We had a whole closet full of them, and so we'd love to have a lot of takers tonight and then really be able to fly that WB around Thorntown and Jamestown and everywhere around. So sponsorships, we have a table out in the cafeteria, so please come see us afterwards. If you have any questions, feel free. For our parents of seniors that are in here, if you want your senior to just be greatly appreciative of that. So take a look at that. You don't have to just sign up for your grade week. If you have a sophomore, but there's a date that works for you in the 7th grade week, please feel free to sign up. We will never turn away help, and we're glad. And this is what our Sign Up Genius looks like, and so we have some openings. So feel free to check those out. Anyone who works as a ticket taker or at the concessions will receive a $10 voucher as our way of saying thank you. You can use those vouchers at the concession stands. You can use them to help buy your sports passes up to $50. You can use them to pay for a letter jacket. If you know you have a kid who is hopefully going to, letter in their athletics, that's a great way to take off some of the cost of the athletic jacket, as well as for our senior families. Each voucher gets you an additional entry into the drawing for our scholarship winners. So that's a great way to use those tickets to hopefully help your child be recognized. Athletic teams. So what we also do as well, as you saw on the prior slide, and you'll see that there are some of our concession stand nights that are dedicated to our sports teams. So we ask our coaches that every sports team takes 2 nights throughout the seasons to work the concession stand. And so by doing that and having them help with that, we give money directly back to that sports team to utilize however that they need. So new baseballs. I know one year cross country wanted to buy a new tent to help keep the kids dry during the rain, and so that money was able to go right back to them. So please also keep an eye out for those links from your head coaches and consider working there. Other way we collect money, so spotlight ads. So I talked about these athletic books. And if you are to look at this out at the table, this is from 2019, and it is thick. Back in 2019, we had so many spotlight ads for our athletes. And this can be for any athlete, 9 through 12, as well as our band members. And so it's a great way just to give a shout out to your child. Full pages are eligible for seniors only, but you can do a quarter page, a half page, or if you have a senior, you can do any size that you want. But it's a great way to just recognize your student for all the hard work that they're doing and kind of celebrate some great photos that you have. Families, you can either design your own ad, or you can work with Allison Smith, and you just have to send her your photos, and she'll put together a really great ad and put that in the book. Here's examples of 2 ads that I made for my kids. Don't let my junior and freshman be the only junior and freshman in the book this year. They'll be so embarrassed. But I made a half page for Sam and a quarter page for Molly, and so that's just kind of give you an idea. And we have lots of other examples out there if you kind of want to flip through some old books. The last thing I do, I'll put my mom hat on for just a minute and talk about the athletic circle. So we want to keep our stars safe as much as possible. And so I have a few just do's and don'ts of the athletic circle. So I want everyone to think of the athletic circle like a roundabout. I know everyone hates them. If you've been in Hamilton County, there are a lot of them. But think of them as a roundabout. You would never stop and park in the middle of a roundabout. And so that's what we're asking you to not do in our athletic circle as well. So please, for your dues, line up on the right side of that driveway. Stay in line until you see your child exit the building. Cautiously pull forward to pick up your child. If you're the first to enter the circle, kind of follow in a circular motion towards the left and pull forward, not stopping right in front of the middle of that drive. And then make sure that you drive slowly, exiting the circle as well. For our don'ts, please don't park in the circle. It's super dangerous. It creates multiple rows of picker-uppers. And so this area is designated for quick pickups and drop-offs, not for long terms. So if you must come inside the building, please utilize the parking lot for that. Don't allow your child to walk down the drive to you. Sometimes when the line gets long and kids get impatient, they will walk down the grass on either side. That can get really scary, especially in the dark or when it's raining. So please work with your kids to make sure that they know to wait for you at the circle and that you'll pull up when it's safe. And then also with the addition of our tennis parking lot, just don't block that tennis parking lot drive while you're waiting for your child in the circle. These are some old pictures, so hopefully no one in here is one of these cars. But as you can see, I tried to black out your license plates. But as you can see, the black SUV there in the middle, you can't be seeing your kids exiting the building. And so paying attention to that. And the second picture there's 2 circles, so that gets really dangerous if kids are walking out to the second inner circle while someone's trying to leave on the outer circle. And then the last picture of that red truck there's no one parked in that truck. And so it makes it really difficult and gets backed up and can be scary for our kids. And so that's my mom hat for tonight. I've seen it a lot, especially late nights when our buses get in. It's raining, it's cold, it's slippery with lots of ice or snow. And we just want to make sure that our students stay safe. So if you can help me think of that athletic circle like a roundabout and not park in it and kind of use it in that circular fashion, we'll keep everybody safe this year. Last thing, follow us on social media. We try to be really active and share all the great success that our student athletes are having. So follow us on Twitter and on Facebook on our pages there. And again, like I said, we're always looking for more hands. So if you're interested at all, come see us at the table after this. We'd love to talk to you about how you can help. So thanks, everybody.
The circle etiquette is one of the more exciting things. We actually enjoy to go over that because you never know if your car is going to be people are going to be taking pictures of you, and you end up on the Jen's back there smiling. It's like our favorite time of this meeting. So, but it is very serious as far as just from a safety perspective, and we appreciate everybody following that etiquette. One thing our booster club helps with jackets when you get to that point. Like if you or somebody, like your athlete receives a letter, varsity letter, then they're eligible for a jacket. And our boosters basically cover about half of that cost. And so it lowers the cost down for the jackets to $140. And if you get to that point where it's time to purchase a jacket, then you can come down to the athletic office and see Lindsay, and they're able to try them on. We have different sizes in the office to get that ordered. But I've seen, to the point on the tickets, the $10 vouchers, I've seen multiple tens of people who have just purchased jackets just with vouchers. They just turn in 14 of those vouchers. My math is right on that. Yeah, 14 times 10. Took me a second, but they just turn those in, and it's at no cost, just by working over maybe their entire, 6th to 12th grade run there. You work 14 times, you pay for a jacket, if you look at it that way. We're very fortunate to have a partnership with Witham. Witham Sports Medicine takes care of our athletes, and this year we're having a transition. Sarah Walker has left, and Kayla has been here this summer with us, and she comes in with, over 10 years experience as an athletic trainer, and has been really on top of it from the get-go. Was with us during the softball state run, and has integrated well. But this is her contact information if you get into a position where your athlete needs medical attention, or during a game as she has to go out and treat them. So Kayla's here. You have anything to say?
It's been a great couple of months. I really appreciate anyone that I've had to talk to, unfortunately, so far. I hope you never have to see my 515 area code on your phone screen, but if you do, the sooner I know about injuries, the sooner we can get your son or daughter back on the field. So just please communicate. Any concussions do have to get cleared by a medical doctor. So any notes, things like that, just please make sure I get them, so that way we can get your child back on the field or back on the court as soon as possible.
Perfect. Thank you. And Dr. Kraft works with Kayla. Dr. Kraft's our team physician, and he's often at our home football games, and then we'll do injury checks. I don't know if we've confirmed is it Mondays or Tuesdays? Yeah, we're sticking with Mondays. He was possibly going to go back and forth, but yeah, Mondays he'll do injury checks and is here. We're very fortunate to have him on site weekly for that. Continuing on the medical aspect of things, last year there was a Senate bill that was put in place that I thought was a great thing that was done, which put in place making sure that there is an AED within close proximity to every location at a school that an athlete would be participating at. And it actually caused a lot of schools to upgrade that, and I'm thankful for that. Hopefully we never have to use them, but just for your knowledge as a parent, as a fan, we have AEDs at every one of our facilities. At football, track, tennis, it's inside the concession stand. Baseball and softball, it's out in the concession stand of that press box. At soccer, it's in the concession stand. And then there's one in the cafeteria right outside the main gym. There's one right outside our weight room when our student athletes are working out every day. There's one upstairs on the west wall of the second floor. And then our trainer, Kayla, has one on herself at all times. And then we've gone as far as to give our golf and cross-country teams and those. And it's the first 9 weeks grades, the second semester's grade. So not the second 9 weeks, but the second semester grade, the third 9 weeks, and then I said second semester. It's the first 9 weeks, first semester, third 9 weeks, second semester. So basically it's the semester grades, and then the first and third 9 weeks is what we will do in the athletic office. And we'll run, if it's the teams that are playing at that time, when we hit that end of the grading period, we will run their grades, and then we will also run grades for upcoming seasons the next season. So like for instance, this week, high school teams are starting out. By the end of the week, they'll have their rosters set, and then we will run their grades before we have our first contest in those sports. The only one we have to do faster is golf because they have 2 practices and then they start playing. So we do that one quicker. But that's how this goes, and it's something that is important to just make sure we're staying up on. 5 classes to participate. From an attendance perspective at school, 11 a.m. is the magic time per day. So if they're later than 11 a.m., cannot participate or practice that night. I always ask the question, see if anybody knows it, but does Friday impact Saturday? No. So Friday does not impact Saturday, which might be backwards, but in your mind. But yeah, Friday impacts Friday. All right, so we don't go to school on Saturday. So there's not an 11 a.m. arrival time. So that's the and it's just whatever they in the office is where they check in, and that's what we go off of. This is our second year of the Monon Athletic Conference. Just any information you ever want to find, the ADs do a pretty good job of updating the MononAthleticConference.com website. It'll keep the history as we go along. It's kind of neat. This first year, we won the All Sports Trophy for girls sports. Simply, best way to put it, we finished, with the highest average of finishes in the conference in the girls. On the boys' side, we were in the top 4 as well. But it's a great conference for us, we think, from a participation perspective, from a size of school perspective, and is good for our athletes. Every time they step into a season, they should feel like they have a chance to win a conference championship. I always like to highlight our strength conditioning program. There's 2 things that I think really separate us: our strength conditioning program and our multi-sport participation. It makes the school our size have the success that we've had. I've been here 10 years. I think we've won 4 team state championships, been runner-up in 2, won an individual state championship in high jump, been to multiple other semi-states, had a lot of success. And a lot of it, I think, has a lot to do with our strength and conditioning, multi-sport, what Nate Burke does in the strength conditioning in the weight room. So in the summer, these guys go at it all summer. And we have a breakfast club where if they make it to, this year it was 22 opportunities, they made it to 19, then they were in the breakfast club. They get a T-shirt. We make a big deal out of them. But what they do is really unparalleled. From our girls' sport perspective, you just won't find schools our size that push girls' strength and conditioning and participation as well as we do and as well as Nate does. And multi-sport, I think, is maybe my second year, third year, we implemented the 3-sport patch just to continue to push multi-sport. I know you can be a multi-sport athlete with 2 sports that you're participating in, but a 3-sport patch, we usually average anywhere from 50 to 70 kids that get that at the high school level, which is pretty incredible when you think of just 513 students as a whole. And then from a junior high perspective, you will have an opportunity to receive your numerals anywhere in grades 6 through 8 after you complete 4 seasons. And we do include, even though it is not under our purview, we do include 6th grade football in that. So you can participate in 6th grade football, and that's one of your 4 towards your numerals. We have an athletic ambassador group, and we're really close. This group goes down and teaches 6 different pillars of character throughout the year to the 3rd grade groups at Wells and Thorntown. And they build the lessons out, and they go down and they work with the same class. And we're really close to having the first 3rd grade group that was taught be eligible for ambassadors. And I've always thought that's going to be a really neat thing. But we're going into, we've gone through 8 years of this, and there's 20 of them this year, and for your athletes to ever, someday be a part of that. There's an application process that's done very similar to a National Junior Honor Society or a National Honor Society point system with different ratings and application, the whole process. And it revolves around participating in strength conditioning in the summer and being a multi-sport athlete, having a high GPA. A lot of things go into it, but these end up being, for lack of a better term, the face of our athletic programs. And every varsity sport that we have, every event that we have at the varsity level, one of these student athletes is saying the sportsmanship statement beforehand, and along with the third graders. And then this year we implemented unified sports. We're unable to have, at the size of school that we have, maybe a full unified track team or the different teams that some of the bigger schools have, but these ambassadors led the charge in working with our life skills group, and had a kickball game where many students came down, made a student section for them. Logan Kripe announced them. He likes to try to make his voice deeper than mine on the microphone, and announced each one of them and did a great job. And we just want to continue to advance that. But what they're doing within the corporation as a whole is extremely positive. If you would ever want to have or be involved or know anybody from a corporate sponsorship perspective that would like to be a part of our gym wall program, we have brochures outside the athletic office. You can contact myself or Lindsay about it. But on that south wall of the gym, we've continued to add more and more diamond signs, and it leads to advertisements in the program that the boosters do, which again, that program book you won't find that very many places. Look for them at other Monon Athletic Conference schools and report back if you see one that's anywhere close to as good as the one the boosters put together. But if you want to be a part of that or know anybody that would, all those proceeds go to our athletes. Sometimes people don't think about, like, if they're out there playing with tennis balls, like, all the soccer balls, all the basketballs, all the baseballs, all the softballs, all the, everything, that they use, is purchased through the athletic program, athletic department, and the athletic department being self-funded off of ticket sales, donations from the boosters, corporate sponsorships is how we're able to do that. We really try to engage the community on social media and through WeBoAthletics.com. And we will do daily event summaries for every event that happens the night before. Our coaches turn in summaries to us. It's something that Coach Pelly does. As a coach, I had to do it. And so I always tell our coaches I want to ask them to do something, I wouldn't do. But as a coach, I had to do it. And then when I first started here, I was posting them. And then Pelly took over doing that, and that was nice. And then he was out this spring, and I remembered how much time goes into posting those again. We might have a Tuesday night where we have 8, 9 athletic events, and we'll spend the first couple hours posting. But we feel it's important to highlight, what your athletes are doing. And, people pay attention to it. And I know it's, sort of a, become its own animal, where if we miss one, some people will remind us of it if we're unable to get to one. But I think in the long run, it's great to publicize it. And then the boosters will retweet and repost that. And we have a Facebook page as well. It's completely informational. We don't answer questions on it, don't get into dialogue on it, but completely informational. So follow those things. WeBoAthletics.com is kind of the one-stop shop for everything. This is a screenshot from today. We've had one athletic event this year, by the way, which would be girls golf, and they won at Seeger. So they won the Seeger invite, but it's already up there. But this is kind of where you will find everything. We'll go through a few things here real quick. There's a team store There's a team store that's open year-round, and they will ship orders directly to your house. I don't know what's happening, but I'm gonna choke, I think. 1 second. That's just telling me to go faster, get done faster for y'all. There's a team store that you can order, and within a week they'll ship it to your house. It's open all year round. We're going to try to have more things added this year throughout the year at different points, but you can find it on that menu on the left side and order as you would like. FinalForms registration, it's our athletic registration. Every athlete has to have it completed. You have to have all the e-signatures signed off on. You have to have your physical updated. And there's a FinalForms logo on the left side of WeBoAthletics.com for that. This is what students will look like. If you haven't completed all the forms or the athletic physical isn't updated, it's going to look like this. If you have completed it, then it's going to look like this. And, credit my wife for getting that done for Evan. That's great. But we're green. This is what you want to be green. If you're red, there's a reason why. And it's one thing we've tried to do the last year is we were dealing in a lot of paper. If you think about the first day of practice yesterday for the high school, people dropping physicals off. Like FinalForms allows you to upload them, and we all tend to be at this point have a phone or some way that we can upload a picture. So we've asked people, really started pushing that route, that we don't want to accept the paper copy of the physical, just upload it. And one thing to note, and I know it's why we do these meetings, but you'll upload the physical, but that doesn't automatically make you green. We have to go in, look at it, make sure it's signed, make sure it's dated after April 1st, signed by a doctor, all of that. And then we have to click a button. So sometimes it's not automatic. But if you upload it maybe on like a Friday night, it might not get done till Monday. But I think that's relevant because like the electronic signature, that is automatic. If your physical is cleared and you haven't signed your e-forms and you do that, it'll turn you green right away. But I like to note the difference there on the little time delay. And this just where the physicals on the website. We have them outside the office as you need them, but just upload them to the account. We should do this. Yeah, I've talked enough. I almost forgot. But you got these red tickets. I'm going to give out 3 different passes. If for some reason you've already bought your pass, we will refund that back if you are somebody who wins a free family pass here. Boy, this got bad last year. It's getting worse on my eyes. I'm going to go with the whole thing because I don't know where to cut it off at, but 226185. 226185. Make yourself known, and Lindsay will bring you. Or did nobody win? See, I got smart a few years ago, too, and you can't sign off until the end, so I wouldn't have thought people would leave. But let's try again. Two, 238. 226238. Okay, got one. Okay, good. I'll wait. Yeah, I'll talk for not as long before I do it the next time. But I want to cover real quick, every season there's a certain number of practices. Dr. Kraft's actually on a committee that's the Student Medical Advisory Committee for the IHSAA, and there's doctors that will recommend a certain amount of cardio work prior to participation in a sport, and so they have recommended the IHSAA these sports criteria, I guess, to return to play. But the bottom, pre-participation practices, so we're all in the fall here. If you have a fall athlete, they all have to have 8 practices in. So if they're not going from season to season, they have to have 8 to play in a contest. If they're going from season to season, they have 4. That used to be 5. They lowered it to 4. I don't really know why, other than it just sounds better, I think. 8 and 4 is better than 8 and 5. But they felt like 4 was enough. So those are the pre-practice, the pre-participation practices that are needed. And then this IHSA return to play, this used to be a bigger deal during the COVID days when maybe we'd send somebody home for 10 days. But if an athlete doesn't participate for 8 to 14 days for maybe something medical or an injury, then they need 2 practices to return to participating in an event. And if they're past like more than 14, then they have to have 3. Now, where this comes into play, we always say, is spring break. It'll come into play even more this year because we have Friday off. If you didn't know that, if you haven't looked at the calendar, we have Friday off before spring break. And so if you do the math on that, we have to practice. We have to make sure in the spring we practice up to a far enough point that we don't miss 8 consecutive days, or we just don't schedule on the first 2 days. And for you all, that's where I got smart. For you, we just won't schedule for the first 2 days afterwards. We shouldn't play an event in the first 2 days, and as long as you're back by Monday, then we'd be okay. So we're going to try to help with our calendar where we're getting off on Friday and make sure that we're not immediately back needing to play a game. So we'll work through that. But that's where it can come into play, is spring break. The More tab is where you'll see all kinds of different things that you might need. One that's very big is the travel consent form. This is huge. It is live. As a parent now, of a student athlete here, we've done this before where we'll be at a game, my wife will submit it, and I can see on the back end what the coaches see, and it's automatic. You go to the Google form, you submit. If your coach allows maybe an athlete to leave with you after a game, you submit that you're leaving. You click the sport. It's color-coded for them specifically. They know what color to look for them, and they can check you off that way. It got us away from paper and sign-out sheets and all of that stuff long ago. And each morning, Lindsay will hide the night before's entries. So what we do need is for you to not put in, the whole season, because we're going to hide them. If you do that, we're not going to see that. So you just, and the coaches is just looking for that night. So just put in night by night if you're taking them home, if your coaches allow that. But this is on WeebleAthletics.com under the More tab, under the travel consent spreadsheet. You can find all sports passes there as well. You can buy those out here in the cafeteria. If you've bought them already online, we have the passes out there. Please pick them up. You'd actually be amazed at how many people buy all sports passes and never pick them up. Like, it would shock you. Shocking. But so make sure you pick them up out there. Our home events, we accept both online. Like, every event has an online ticket availability on WeebleAthletics.com under tickets. We also accept cash at the gate. We'll have a QR code attached to the rolling ticket booth where if you wanted to stand there and pay online through that QR code, you could as well. Obviously, the online, there is a fee, but a lot of the places you're going to go to do not accept cash. I think it was us and Frankfurt that were holding on in the conference, and Frankfurt just announced that they're going cashless. So I think we might be it as far as accepting cash. There are some that will do it. They just don't publicize it. But for us, we will accept both. And then at the away games, if some are not, some don't accept cash, you will find that a lot of them are event link ticket schools. And you can actually find on WeBoAthletics.com under the tickets, if they're an event link school, they'll be under here as well. So you actually won't have to go to their website. So I would check here first. And then if they're not, like North Montgomery is one of two. They might be the only school in the state now that uses GoFan. But you have to have a GoFan account to go to North Montgomery. So you just, as that's evolved and changed. But here, can do both. We will communicate athletically through FinalForms as a primary form of communication. There's a text message feature. I don't use that all the time. We'll use it for, time-sensitive things. You have an opportunity when you set up your FinalForms account to opt in or out of the text message on whether you want that or not. But that's what we will use along with social media. We instruct our coaches to use it as well as the primary mode of communication to you all. And obviously, they will probably have, a team snap or a group me or a remind or something like that as well for all of their athletes from a communication perspective. I would recommend it. We can't recommend enough having an event link, like when you have an event link account, downloading the app. And in the app, you have an opportunity to select which sports your athletes play. And you can even populate that into your iPhone calendar, sync it, or you can keep it in the app. And we are very diligent about keeping our facility schedule updated so you would know when practices are, when events are. We keep all of our athletic facility schedules in EventLink. So cannot recommend enough downloading the app and setting up an account. I wanted to take a second longer on this slide. There's lots of times where at the end of a day, let's say there's a Tuesday and we have 8 or 9 athletic events between junior high and high school, maybe more than that. We have away events, we have practices going on, we have home events. The cafeteria becomes a wild place to be. And we understand that it would be difficult for everybody to maybe, if we sent everybody home to get back for a 4 o'clock bus departure. But supervision is at times an issue in the cafeteria, just on availability. We do have lay coaches that have jobs that can get here at certain times. So at your different parent meetings, your coaches will talk about that on their availability and whether they can supervise those athletes in the cafeteria, and then kind of talk through that individually. But athletes historically are able to stay if supervised. And then from a game day food perspective, the cafeteria will sell food. And it's gotten pretty good, honestly, over the last few years. The options are good in the cafeteria for the athletes. And we don't want to have a bunch of outside food brought in and maybe a team buffet set up in the cafeteria or anything like that. So you just focus on your athlete. If you're bringing them Subway or something, you're able to do that. The main thing I want to cover on this is we do have tryouts and cuts at times for different sports. For the most part, Western Boone is a place that if you want to participate in something, you're able to. There are times in years where if we have larger groups, they may have to cut. We will say we support our head coaches on deciding who's on their team. Coaches have the ability to decide that. And then the one thing that we ask is that everybody is given 2 days of tryouts at minimum before cuts. So that is something that's done by our coaches. This is in the handbook. Hopefully you don't ever have to deal with it. If there's discipline issues, there's different code of conduct violations that exist in the student handbook. You sign off for FinalForms. You can read through all that if you'd like, but there's a percentage of a regular season, 30% for the first offense, 365 or an entire year for the second offense, and then unable to participate in athletics for the third. If you have conflicting events, we have athletes that are all over in multiple things, from plays to band to choir to FFA to all the different things that we offer. Our coaches know that athletes have the right to choose without penalty what they would go to. Just communication is key if they're in multiple events, and obviously graded events need to really take precedent, even in a household from your guys' decisions. Band and choir, things that are graded, should take absolute precedent. From a parent communication role, we operate, and we're fortunate from our administration perspective. We've all, been here and been a part of the process, a while, from myself to Mr. Miller to Mr. Whiteley now, growing up here and having been in the community and in the school. We follow this communication process. We'd obviously like to empower athletes to talk to coaches first. And from there, we would then have the parent be able to talk to the coach with the athlete if they all agree to that. And then if there's still something that needs to be discussed, then you would come to me from there. But if you would call me up and, if it's not safety related specifically, or, something from a legality perspective or an extreme concern, my first question is going to be, have you talked to the coach? And we're going to go from there. But take those steps from a communication perspective. And then sportsmanship wise, it's just I do want to note, when we have you hear me talk about the IHSA rules a lot, because we carry those rules all the way down through 6th grade. We don't differentiate between junior high and high school. But from a sportsmanship perspective, the IHSA has a bylaw that if a fan is ejected from an athletic event by either an official or an administrator or somebody in charge of the event, then they immediately have at minimum a 2-game or 2-event suspension at that point. So just keep that in mind when we're watching events. That's an IHSA rule that we take all the way down to 6th grade. Let's do one more. Let's do another. Then we'll do one at the end because we're almost finished. Did you read this, Brian? You could read it? You got readers? 226197. 226197. They leave too? It's very odd. It's odd. It's never happened before. Okay. $226,061. Or no. Sorry. Wow. That's just not nice of me. Okay, we're gonna go. We're gonna have 6-1 get 1-2, and then the actual number. But does somebody have 6-1? Okay, I don't want to do that to you. So you get one as well. All right, and then 6-0 gets 1-2 if they're here. No. I'm sorry. 226060. Yeah. Yeah, I may need a flashlight. Yeah, I don't know. They told me at the eye doctor last time that I might need to. How do you mess up a 0 and a 1? I just don't think I was paying attention. We got her? Okay. Okay, I just want to, uniforms, again, it's something the athletic department, with the help of the boosters and corporate sponsors and we purchase those for many of the teams. And, sometimes one of the more difficult things to do in the office is get all those back in. We like to inventory them. We keep them. We really charge our coaches to try to help us with that. If you can, at the end of the year, just be very diligent about getting those back, we'd appreciate it. And it'll really help us because that's another thing sometimes we'll have Coach Pelly do is start tracking them down during the day to help us. But, it's something, especially spring seasons, as we're going off into the summer, getting those back. I just want to mention social media. Always did this with my teams as well, and I know I'm talking to you all as parents just to help. Social media is such a big part of everyday life, even more than when I coached and would talk about it. But there's just a certain level of expectation as a Western Boone student athlete and how you should act on social media. Getting into things with other schools, other athletes, getting baited into things on there, what you're posting. So if you can just always have a pulse on that with your children, that'll help us and set a good visual out there to every other community that we're not getting into that, the back and forth on there with different, different accounts that are out there. So we appreciate the help with that. And I do mention at the bottom, parent interaction with team accounts and coaches on social media. You need to remain positive, civil, and supportive. If you're not able to do that, then a coach is going to have every right to not respond on social media back with those accounts. So just talk to them in person rather than responding maybe in the comments or whatnot on social media during the season. And this is going to be uploaded to WeBoAthletics.com, and then we have others fill it out as well in that fashion. But let's do our final pass out here. Before we do this, scan this. Make sure there's a lot of older retro jerseys that a lot of the students like to wear at different cheer blocks and different events that are out there that you could purchase. That again, any of that money is going to go directly to the athletes. There's you can get your sports passes out there. Stop by, see the boosters. A lot going on out there as well. But appreciate your time. I want to do one more ticket in which I'm really going to work hard to read it correctly. And it is 7 o'clock on the nose, so we did this in an hour.